Ah, the joy of building your very own PC, customizing it to fit your needs and aesthetic taste, picking out parts. Oh no. Yeah, this is an AM4 build, using a few essential parts I already owned, but honestly it does everything I needed to do. There were some bumps along the way, but in the end it all went great. Oh, and of course I'm installing Linux on it. So, let's get to it. Alright, these are the parts. An AMD Ryzen 5700X, a beefy-looking XFX Swift OC Radeon RX 9060 XT with 16 gigs of VRAM, a Gigabyte B550M Aorus Elite motherboard. Why this one? It was pretty cheap. For storage, I'll use this 1TB Kingston NVMe SSD. I bought this just before the apocalypse for $50. Imagine that. Same with these dual 16 gig sticks of DDR4 3200 MHz. I bought them new for $60. Wonder what they'll... Oh, anyway, the power supply is a Be Quiet SFX Power 600 watt 80 plus gold certified. I've already mounted an ATX bracket cause we'll need that later. This one was sent to me by Be Quiet at my request 8 months ago when I wanted to build an AM5 mini ITX build. Yeah. For cooling, I went with the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 Pro 240A RGB. What is with these names? This one was sent to me by Arctic, so thanks to them. Also 8 months ago. All of the components will live inside of this Lian Li A3 Micro ATX case. It was quite affordable, but I just saw that they're releasing this one, which I think looks better. Oh well, let's get started. Remove this. Okay, oh, it's stuck in there and I don't want to pull too hard. Who cares? Now the CPU goes in, I just need to align the gold triangle with the one up here and there. Pull this one down. I actually thought the motherboard was used when I got it as there was no cover on the CPU bracket, but that's apparently just how AM4 boards are. Now for the RAM. Boink. The manual said slots A2 and B2, so that's what I'm doing. Now for the SSD, there are 2 slots, but the top one is Gen 4 and the one below is only Gen 3. You might notice that I'm using the famous LTT screwdriver, so segue to our sponsor. Just kidding. They did, however, send this over to me a few months back with no strings attached, which I thought was very cool. The screwdriver is nice. In fact, it's great. Next I need to remove the stock cooler brackets and install those that came with the AIO. Actually, let's try to stay organized and put these stock ones in the box right away. Oh, hello. Yeah, I forgot to put the second one in. So much for organizing. The AIO came with this little kit, so let's get the stuff out. First we'll need the motherboard screws and the brackets. Get these out, on with the standoffs, screw, screw, screw. Oh, no harm done. This is not that easy. There, nice. Let's undress the case like so. Okay, that was a weird thing to say. The top panel is just a few thumb screws and the rest of the panels just kind of click out. As you can see, there's a power cord extension that'll go over and into the power supply. And here are the front panel connectors with USB-C 2, which this motherboard in fact does not support. The case comes with this little lunchbox of screws and whatnot. Gently put in the motherboard. The stock standoffs fit the board nicely, which is nice. As you can see, these are all labeled, which is nice, but we need the motherboard screws. This thing is going nowhere. The power supply will be attached to this bracket, which is just held in by these 2 screws, and there's this hinge on it, which is cool. Yeah, there. Nice. Just like this. So many screws, and yeah, this is why I need the SFX to ATX bracket, as it won't fit otherwise. Put this in, and just 2 screws here. Nice. Let's get the extension plugged in. Oh, that won't do. Will it go under? Yes. Nice. Now, cables. We need the 24 pin for the motherboard and the 8 pin for the CPU. Let's start with the 8-pin for the CPU, and I'll just plug it into the power supply, and then over here, okay, this is pretty tight, which is of course expected for an SFX PSU, but this doesn't look great. But you can't really cable manage in this case anyway. Now for the 24-pin, this is a problem. Unplug this, then this, and okay, they fit, but it's rather tight as you can see. Now for the front panel headers, they go in over here, the fat USB 3 here, and HD audio all the way over here. So, front panel, USB 3, HD audio, and the USB-C, which will just be chilling down here. Now we can get to work on the AIO. So let's grease up the CPU with a diabolical amount of thermal paste, but that's what the guide says, okay? It won't slip off. Ugh. Come on. Oh my god, it's so dry. Yeah, I can't be bothered. Luckily I have another one over here in my little toolbox. Yeah, there's a lot of RAM down there, but it's all DDR3. Okay, it's not too easy to screw off this with one hand. Just a second. Alright, let's see. So we're doing the cross again. Come on. Yeah, this is much better. But it's so much. But again, I'm just following the guide. A satisfying peel. And then we need to get it on there. Okay, it's really rigid. It's kind of hard to maneuver around. Why are they not reaching the brackets? Oh god, what a mess. Maybe if I just continue... come on. Okay, it feels locked now. Oh, never mind. Okay, let's have a look at the manual again. Oh, yeah, I put the brackets upside down, so let's get these off. And the backplate fell off, obviously. You're coming with me. Okay, all according to the manual now. Oh, it's a lot easier now. Who would have guessed? Peel this off, and I can now get this one in. Come on. There. Now I can plug in the CPU cable up here. The RGB stuff will go down there somewhere. Now I just need to attach the radiator to the top of the case, but let's first peel these two off. Like so. After a few minutes of maneuvering around, trying to find the best position for the radiator, it's now there. Right, we're almost done, but it doesn't look that pretty if I'm being honest. Finally, the graphics card. I need to remove some of these covers that I can access behind this little door. Here it is, all covered in plastic. Boom, it's in. Now I just need to connect it with a PCIe cable. And yeah, that's it. The PC is done. Of course I need to do a bit of cable management, but let's first see if it even boots. So let's turn on the PSU and the power button. Come on. Oh, right away. It's doing stuff. That's a good sign. And there's the RGB. Cool. Come on, little guy. Oh, we got something. New CPU installed. FTPM PSP NV corrupted or NV structure changed. Press Y to reset if you have BitLocker or encryption enabled. The system will not boot without a recovery key. Yeah, so I'm pressing Y, but nothing's happening. Okay, I rebooted again and now none of the keys are working. That's interesting. Yeah, I spent a good 30 minutes here troubleshooting, reading through old Reddit posts, and what really fixed it was just using a US layout keyboard. Weird, but now it works. Oh, Windows. Right, there's Windows on this one. Well, I want to get to the BIOS. Here we are, everything looks good, and as you can see the RAM is only going at 2100 MHz, but I can fix that by turning on XMP, like so. Anyway, now that I know it's working, let's do a bit of a cleanup before we install Linux. And this is the result. Not super clean, but I'm gonna cover it up by the side panel anyway. Oh, and I also installed an extra fan from my old case, so there's a nice airflow now. Get the panels back on, and now it's time to install Linux. So I plugged in my CashOS USB, booted and spammed F2 to get into the BIOS, and in here I'll disable CSM support and secure boot and set the boot priority to the USB. Then save and reset. Ladies and gentlemen, CashOS, launch installer, English, Copenhagen, US keyboard, erase disk. Let's clean the drive from Windows. I'm going with Plasma today cause I don't really feel like messing around with config files. What's your name? Foci? Can you guess my password? Install now. Welcome to CashOS. Thanks. Open the terminal, fast fetch, and here it is. Everything is recognized, and because it's all AMD, we shouldn't have to worry about weird drivers. Let's do a system update, sudo pacman-syu, then this command just to be sure. Yeah, AMD GPU, that's what I want to see. Okay, now we can download the very convenient gaming packages. Apps and tweaks, install gaming packages. That was fast. Let's open Steam and log in. And now we need to install Proton Up Qt. It's a GUI app that simplifies downloading and managing compatibility tools like GE Proton for Steam and Wine GE for Lutris. Basically, it'll hopefully make games perform better on Linux. In here I just select the latest version and hit download. Then quit and reopen Steam and go to the settings, compatibility, and yeah, I can now select it. Applying this one in here in the global settings means that all games will use it as the new default now. I do also want to play World of Warcraft, and to get that working I'll use the Forgus launcher. So let's search for Forgus, GitHub. We need Yay. Do we have Yay? Nope. Yay, GitHub. Copy this, paste it into the terminal and run it. And yeah, we now have Yay. Try again and Forgus is installed. Nice. Let's open it. Hit the plus, select BattleNet, and I'll use GE Proton again. Please close the login window and wait. Okay. Oh, so now it's in focus as you can see here, so let's log in. It's very small. Oh well. Download WoW. The PC is incredibly loud and I'm not even doing anything heavy. Why is that? Yeah, after searching around I found it's because of the single cable connection to the AIO. This should be an easy fix, simply by swapping out that single one for a 3-split cable, where one is for the pump, one is for the VRM, and so on. So I spent a good 45 minutes taking out the AIO and swapping the cables. Why did it take this long? Well, because the two fan headers were covered by the radiator and the graphics card. So I had to take them out to be able to get to those headers. You also might notice there's no longer an exhaust fan. Well, that's because I used up all of the headers and I don't have any splitters. But we should be fine, right? Well, at least for now. The PC is significantly quieter, so it worked. By the way, I also enabled resizable bar, which I don't know what is, but you're supposed to do it, I guess. Now, let's do some gaming, starting with Shadow of Mordor, which is one of my all-time favorites. And I've never played it in 4K, so I'm quite excited to see how it performs. As you can see here, I've set it to 4K and I've set the graphics to Ultra. This game actually has a built-in benchmark, so let's try that first. So far we're in the 70 range, dropping slightly to 60 over here. And we're now above 90 FPS. Let's see the results. Alright, an average FPS of 77, a max of just over 100 and a minimum of 57. I think that's pretty good for 4K Ultra settings, but let's actually play. Already this feels really good, much better than what I've tried before. Let's find a place with a bit more action.
So we're gonna go through it all again, are we? I hope you ain't expecting expecting a different result.
Yeah, this is awesome. I'm so excited to play more of this game with these high settings and higher resolution on my monitor. Very nice. Let's now turn to one of the other games that I've played a lot throughout the years, which is World of Warcraft. And here I've set it to 4K again with graphics set to high, and yeah, I get well above 120 FPS. Which is more than I need. World of Warcraft is a more CPU dependent game, and an X3D edition of an AMD CPU would do much better here, but they're neither cheap or easy to come by. Still, I'm very happy with the 5700X. The last game I want to test is Overwatch, and again at 4K resolution and graphics set to high, I cap out my 120Hz monitor. Yeah. This is great. And with that, I think it's time to conclude this video. As mentioned, I'm really impressed by the performance of this PC, and going with all AMD components makes gaming on Linux rather easy. I went with CashOS because that's what I've used for the last months, so I'm used to it. And the built-in tweaks, gaming packages and so on are quite convenient. I actually think it's easier to set up an AMD focused computer on Linux as opposed to Windows, since you don't have to mess with drivers and unwanted Windows features. However, the reason that there was Windows on the NVMe already is because I've been testing out how to install and set up Windows in a nice, deep-loaded and clean way with no need for Microsoft accounts and so on. Basically a trio of Rufus, Chris Titus, Windows Tool and Windhawk actually makes for a decent experience. If you're interested in that, please let me know. Also, what's your favorite gaming distro? I feel like this PC has opened up a lot of possible distro reviews for me, as I can actually game now. But I still gotta be honest about something. I think building computers is more fun than actually using them. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and a special thanks to Yen, Sekduck, Aries and Cal, as well as the other members of the channel. You too can become a member of the channel, if it's financially responsible of you. Right now there are 2 tiers with different perks, but in addition to these, all members are invited to join a VIP channel in the Discord. Okay, bye!